Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Dr. Noriwandi Madnudin, Fellow of Psychology Corporation from Center for Media Information Warfare Studies, UiTM. I have a website called drnirwandi.com. Today, I'm going to talk about the International Research Information Science Expo 2026, and my innovation title is called Teaching and Learning Innovations of Information Warfare, Conceptualization using the Information Warfare Matrix Capability Approach. This is my innovation to look into the International Research and Information Science Expo for 2026. Why this innovation is important? First of all, in understanding the elements of information warfare, we need to have my innovation, the Information Warfare Matrix Mapping Capability Approach. Why? It is important for the student in the syllabus of Media Information Warfare Studies to have the capability to conceptualizing information warfare knowledge and practice. This is a fundamental issue because most of the problem of the student finding is quite difficult to map and to understand the context of information warfare syllabus. Therefore, my innovation, the Information Warfare Matrix Mapping Capability Approach, will help the student to guide the student to understand information warfare studies, syllabus and program in more detail, in more structured manner by having the capability to conceptualize subjects and syllabus as a form of fundamental element in understanding media information warfare studies. So why information warfare needs conceptual mapping? Because information warfare is complex and nonlinear. From the first generation warfare until the non-linearity of generation warfare intelligence that we have today, it needs a specific capability and a capacity for students to operate and understanding the nature of study of media information warfare studies, particularly information warfare, with some cognition, society behavior that keep on changing. Therefore, the conceptual mapping ensures domain coherence and understanding of the specific mechanisms of the syllabus of information warfare studies. To indulge in this, students need to have the capability to use the mind security as the foundation. It helps them to train their mind to prepare to understand the syllabus, the program offered in information warfare studies to shape the interpretation information, and this is the extension of high order thinking skill and conventional thinking of the process. So it develops a reality, a mechanics way, a structured mechanism for them to understand the media information warfare studies in more specific matter. So the source concept for metric mapping, they need to have the critical thinking pattern on how to look into some critical element. To understanding the environment, social system, cultural logics, disparate ideology, large group formation, central influence, intended objective, for direction of future direction, and responsive action of the voluntary extremism. So this will shape on how the mindset will work. But the most important element is for them to understand the information warfare matrix structure. So what they need to first to have, first they need to ensure that they develop a cognitive foundations of the warfare concept. Then they need to look into the social cultural structure of this theoretical guide. And to have that, they need to use collective information intelligence, strategic intents of psychological operations, and the action by the operative. This is where my innovation come in to simplify the matter by producing the information warfare mapping capability approach. So what the student need to do? First of all, they need to understand the cognitive foundations of warfare concept. So what are the rationale of public diplomacy, propaganda, elements of war region, society, intelligent concept, and put up it using a theoretical guide to understand the social cultural structure. And then they will use the information learned in intelligent classes for the quality information and to understand what are the strategic intents of the psychological operations and to look into that by the operative mechanism. So this is the build-up to have a kind of mapping that similarly can be used across all the subject of information warfare. By understanding the warfare concept, theoretical guide, intelligence, psych and practice, it could be enhanced the element of collective foundation, social cultural structure, collective formation, strategic intent, and action and response for them to develop on this. And this is the element that eventually will lead them to put all the elements of this mapping together. So the innovation, the information warfare matrix mapping capability, we basically provide what are the costs what are the syllabus program and how the syllabus will be interpreting in the context of cognitive foundation by the warfare concept, the social structure guidance, intelligence, strategic intents, and operative by putting up into analysis mapping note. So by having this template in the back of their mind, in the form of course, syllabus, and structure, by understanding what are the warfare concept, by having the capability of cognitive foundation, what are the theoretical guide to understand the social cultural strategy, and what the intelligence component information to be used to have the collective information part and the strategic intent by psychological operation and how it works in operative element. So this can cover all the program and syllabus. So this become a template of my innovation as a prerequisite for a student to have by understanding the information warfare matrix mapping capability approach. And they could be a decisive factor for students to know, to understand the syllabus much more better, and eventually we decide what's the best for them. Thank you very much. This is my innovation, information warfare matrix mapping capability approach.